Hey, this is Simeon from Monument City, fan of Everton. Welcome to the DU Football Show, and Graham's going to have no kind of college fun left after this.
False.
I know somebody is a little chesty this week because they finally hit one.
I've hit a couple before. Nothing of this magnitude, of course.
I mean, it's like you're all grown up. Your balls are dropped, and you're feeling all chesty because of your result versus my results, and you're probably going to run your mouth a lot tonight, aren't you?
A lot.
Then let's go ahead and start the show. Hello and welcome to the Drunkard United Football Show, a completely biased recap of the English Premier League as told by two common American schmucks. I am your host, Sam Houston. Across the way is the Chesty, Samuel Graham. Sammy, how you doing?
Very well. A lot of money in my pockets this week.
No. It's not a lot of money in your pocket. It's a lot of money paying back your ginormous debt.
Well, is there a difference?
So does Chesty Cocky Sam equal zero energy Sam? Or does it equal going to read my phone and not do a back and forth with my host show?
No, it equals I'm saving my wittiness and humor for later on.
So we're recording at Studio H, just outside our nation's capital. You can check us out on all podcast platforms. Be sure to rate, subscribe, review, and most importantly, share with a footballing friend. Hell, share with any friend. Should you want to chat with us, there is many ways that you can. Sam, why don't you tell the good people how they can get in touch?
Sure, you all can get in touch with us on the social medias at DUfootballshow, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, that is. And then DUfootballshow@gmail.com to get in touch via email. We also, again, we check our DMs, so hit us up. And we would love to hear from everybody.
Excellent. So, most importantly, Sam and myself both work in the wine and spirit industry, have a deep, passionate love for all things distilled spirits. So as the red-blooded Americans we are, we all have a drink in our hand throughout this show. Every show, we are drinking a big old humdinger today.
Yes.
There's going to be a bit of a theme here, kids, over the next few weeks. So, Sammy, what we drinking?
Sure. So we've got the fifth-ranked whiskey on Whiskey Advocate's Top 20.
Yeah, we do.
And that is the Aberlour Abunad.
Very well done, sir.
Right?
Good job.
It's the cask strength mark from them at 122.2 proof. So 61.1% by volume. On the label, it is described as a Highland single malt, but actually is from Speyside. The distillery is in Speyside, which is technically part of the Highlands.
Yep.
Despite it kind of being its own Scotch region.
Right, of course. Namely because the Speyside has so many distilleries.
Yeah.
Pretty much, what is it, like 70% of the distilleries for single malts are in the Speyside specifically.
Yeah. This is batch number 58, and this house actually, fun fact, produces a ton of whiskey for doers for some of their blends. This one is aged exclusively in ex-bourbon barrels that have Oloroso sherry butts, and aged in those casks for 15 years, and bottled straight from the cask.
Yep, absolutely no water, so you get really intense flavors. And this one
is a big boy.
It is a dessert bomb. It is caramel and butterscotch all fucking day, man. And it is a lovely, lovely whiskey.
And despite being 122 proof, not overly hot. I mean, you can feel the alcohol for sure, but it's not burning like crazy.
Yeah, it's not killing the back of your throat.
Would you be angry if I did this over ice cream?
Yes.
Especially because it retails like $90 on the shelf. So, yes.
Well, there you go, because you didn't give me that piece of information, so glad you said it.
Caramel and the butterscotch, I'm like, And I like my whiskey and milk at the winter. So, like this and some cream.
89
No.
to 109 on the shelf, Sam.
The only way that works is if it's in a hot tea, which you would never put this in anyway because it costs too much goddamn money.
Yeah,
you said $89.99 and $94.99?
More to $99.99. Simply because here's something, guys. When you see the top 20 whiskeys come out, retailers will tack a few extra bucks on them, so be ready for that.
The other thing, too, that you may notice is barrel strength stuff is always more expensive than non-barrel strength stuff, even when it's at the same age. And part of that is the proof is what gets taxed.
Yep.
So there you go.
Oh, very good. That was all. Felt like you had more to say there.
That was some knowledge you just threw down. Thank you.
Yeah,
Graham.
so the higher the proof, the more money the distillery has to pay in taxes to the government. And there you go. So you equals higher price on the shelf.
And you're not cutting it with water, which means there's less product coming out of that barrel.
Also, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, then let's get into it.
Let's do it, guys.
I'm just kind of waiting for Sam to say something that he should say because he's reminded to be a fucking tool.
Nope. Fuck you.
Okay. Well, since
Drink
Sam,
responsibly,
Thank
guys.
you very much, everybody. I was just waiting to see if you jump in there, kind of, hang you out there, see if you go ahead and do what you need to do. But no, you didn't care at all.
You were rude to me earlier, so I'm hanging you out to dry by not falling into your shit.
I can tell you right now, will not be the last time I am rude to you tonight. Sometimes, Sam, when it seems like it's all going to fail, all you need is just a little bit of hope, Sammy. Just a little bit of hope. And maybe it a final second winner or a 3-pointer in a building that you haven't done it in since the 60s.
Yeah.
If you got that little bit of hope, you have a chance. Aston Villa 2, Watford 1, Burnley 2, Manchester United 0. So I'm going to tell you a little behind the curtain here, Sammy. Went up to Philly because I was up in Wilmington earlier on Tuesday for business.
Right.
And I went to Philly to watch.
There's nowhere in Wilmington worth going.
Well, there's not I didn't find a Wilmington Everton
supporters group. No. I've been to
So-
Wilmington also. Not my favorite town.
So I went to Philly to catch the game at O'Neill's Pub with a couple of Philadelphia Evertonians were there, not a lot, but a great little joint and had a fun time. When I get back out to the car, I call her to see how she's doing, and her game's still going. I already knew the result, so clearly she was a few minutes behind, just a few minutes behind.
He didn't tip his hat at all. Like, I had no idea.
That's cute.
And I'm like, how's it going? What's going on? What's going on? And I know, and she's like, okay, we're now at the 95th minute. And I'm like, here it comes. Here it comes. The goal happens. She drops the phone and starts screaming at the top of her lungs.
She's
just
got the bug, man.
losing it. And I just thought to myself, I was like, that's it. We got her. She's ours now.
Yep.
She likes it. So, Mel?
It was incredible. Apparently, the kid that thought he got the goal didn't get it. It got credited to Tyrone Mings.
So I have something about that.
Yeah, I'll let you cover that. But the emotion, like him running into the stands, and
22 years old.
everyone it made my heart sing. And that was a hard game. And I'll admit, when you guys talk about Fat Drake, I didn't know who you were talking about.
Troy Deeney.
Well, now I fucking know.
He looks like Fat Drake.
Now I fucking know. Yeah, he really does. Which I have when we do injury time, the music we're going to go out on tonight is a present to you.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
just going to tease that for you right now.
All right.
You're going to love it.
Can't wait.
Yeah, well, he was kind of a dick the whole game. Now I know
He's
why
a
everybody
dick
hates him.
most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, total dick twad. But
Dick Twad.
Dick Twad.
it
All right.
was,
Good one.
it was such a fantastic match to watch, and it was emotional. I'm in there by myself, cussing, yelling, crying, pleading,
Good. You got the bug.
praising.
I told you how I ruined my wife's bug, right?
No.
The 3-2 against Villa when we went in September. The third goal goes in. I think it was Aubameyang's free kick.
Yeah.
And during celebrating, I hit her accidentally. I was like,
Aw.
yes, whap. And so instead of being excited with me, she was pissed because I punched her in the shoulder.
And that pretty
Yeah.
much.
And that's it. She already didn't like it. And I
Hashtag
was like,
spatial awareness.
this would have been the moment, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
Nope, you punched it.
I fucked it up.
You fucked it up.
Yeah. So you're lucky you weren't here.
Well, and what had to probably be even harder for Villa fans is Watford's been on a pretty decent roll. They seem to be getting it together. Then Watford goes up 1-0.
Yep. And you're like,
And-
oh, shit.
You could just kind
And
of
they've
feel
been-
the
they've
life
been-
go out of the building
From
a
a
little.
guy
and-
that's just a fucking, what I call it, a twat nod. What did I say before? I
You said
forgot.
Dick Twad.
I don't know. It just comes out naturally, and I have no idea.
there
what
was
I
some
said.
other muffin reference, like did you had the other
cum
day?
muffin.
Yeah, cum muffin.
All right.
Yeah, that was another one that she's come up with because my wife is one with the clever witticisms, let's say.
Yes.
Do you know
called
what a
someone
Limp Biscuit is?
Yes.
Remember that band?
Yes.
A bad band from 2001.
Excuse me.
Rolling, rolling, rolling.
That was later in their career. It was not the best look, no, but it was all right. The early stuff was fantastic.
But then there was, I mean,
I
they're
like
not.
that.
They shouldn't be given that much credit for their name because there was the Circle Jerks back in the '80s for Punk.
Anyways, guys, this is not injury time.
Correct.
That's the kind of
Yeah.
talk you have on the other show.
That's right. And if you want to tune into DU After Dark, a.k.a. Injury Time, you can find
that's-
us at
that's saved for that
www.patreon.com / DUfootballshow.
Thank you. Jack, oh my God. He got so many breakaways. And then it's him against 3 guys, and he's doing the best he can and just couldn't make it happen on his own. But the team got some confidence, played back up, and got the win. So no Malort for me.
There you go. Douglas Luiz roofing the shot. His first goal for a very long time.
Yeah.
And crowd surfed
Yeah.
through the Villa supporters.
Loved
Thought
it.
that was
Yep.
lovely.
Loved it.
And then, as you said, Esri Konsa. Tyrone Mings, there was a knockdown in the box after a Pepe Reina free kick from about midfield. Knocked down in the box. Mings got on the end of it, kept the ball alive, passed it to Konsa. Konsa, or maybe he didn't. Maybe just pass it to somebody else. They passed it to Konsa. He got taken out, which they probably could have called a penalty for. Konsa smashes the fuck out of the ball and just the touch of the season, really. I mean, it was the last touch of the game, effectively. He got a stud while rolling on the ground from that fierce Konsa shot. That shot probably would have been saved had it not been for that stud that Tyrone Mings purposefully,
Yeah.
definitely on purpose, touched that as it went by him. And
Here's a question. I wonder if
and the dubious goals panel strikes again and takes away the 22-year-old's goal
right.
that he celebrated so vigorously.
Yeah, it's like
It's still
Come
his
on.
goal. We know
Do you
it's his
think-
goal. It may not be statted to him, but everybody knows that's
Oh,
his
yeah,
goal.
absolutely.
so. Do you think if that goal doesn't get scored, do you think VAR reverses?
It's
the,
it's absolutely possible, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he got cleaned out.
Oh,
Tyrone
it
Mings.
was definitely a penalty, but also let's face it, we from the stats that we've seen with VAR so far, the unluckiest team to handle with VAR has been Aston Villa.
Yeah.
They've been the ones that have been screwed the most by it.
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, yeah, that plays into it for sure.
well, we toyed with this a little bit on injury time last week, and it's worth bringing up now. Is Watford? You do everything to get ahead. This could be like the gut punch, man. You finally
It's
get
possible,
ahead,
yeah.
Here's hoping.
and then you turn around later in the week and lose to Tranmere in the FA Cup, a team you were beating 3-0
Yeah.
in the first leg of the FA Cup.
Yep.
That might be the old 1-2 that takes the old wind out of the sails. And it's, I mean, Nigel Pearson's going to obviously try to keep them to task as well as he can. But also, at the end of the day, the players on the field have to do it. And to lose like that way when you were up 1-0 and you thought you had it, that's going to be
I mean,
a kick.
they it's not like they weren't short on chances either. I
No.
mean, they had some chances.
Dude, did you see that one save? I told you to watch it. I don't know if you
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Where Spanish Howard had the hat trick of saves.
Made 3 saves right in a
It
row.
was so awesome.
I prefer to call that patty cake.
It was that you're like
Tap, comes back in, tap. Catch the fucking ball, man. You know you can do that. It's not volleyball. You can catch
there
it.
was one where
Hit-
he had to
tapped
dive.
it out.
He dove for it, came back up. Like
Yeah, so it was
badass.
originally the cross, right? Got a hand to that. Only put it in the path of Fat Drake. He shot, maybe it was Delafeu. Either or.
Mm-hmm.
He shot. No, Delafeu had the cross. He patted it out. Fat Drake got onto the end of it, saved it with his knee kind of and hand together.
Right.
Got up again, and then Tyrone Mings tried to put it in his own net.
Wow.
And he saved from there. It was
I didn't notice that part.
it was great reactions.
It
I mean,
was.
El Gato is truly back. You know what I mean?
It's a veteran presence in the net.
Mm-hmm.
It puts your defense a little bit more at ease. We were talking about it before. It just, if you know you're not going to have Heaton,
And
you
he
can't
was. I
keep
noticed
going
he
with
was down
the,
there cheerleading and putting the people on and keeping his team in check.
Yep.
Like he was doing great.
Well, that's what you need when you're in a relegation battle. That's exactly what you need.
And he's known for that, like being a cheerleader.
Which is good, which is
Yeah.
what we need. 14 games left. I'm feeling really good as the Villanista.
Don't get too confident yet.
That's
a
it.
lot of game
Be
you're,
quite careful.
it's only as good as the next week.
I have been nothing but sunshine and motherfucking rainbows. So don't take the wind out of my sails.
All right. So Burnley do the unthinkable and the shockable and
Is
go
it
to
is
Old-
it unthinkable?
Well, let me finish my thought, and you would hear that I would say they get a win in Old Trafford, although Man United, let's face it, offered very little competition.
Absolute shite. Burnley were held to just 2 shots on target, though, because Manchester United had so much of the ball. They were 2 doozies, but Burnley were ruthless as fuck. Scored on both of those shots.
Yeah.
Manchester United, again, were absolutely terrible. Of 24 total shots they had, just 7 of them were on target. And to be fair to Burnley, Nick Pope didn't really have to be spectacular at all.
No, he didn't.
He didn't have to stand on his head one bit. Everything was fairly routine, minus maybe one of those chances. With a little flick header, I think, that he was kind of, the body positioning was weird that he had to get to up in the corner. But other than that.
And then you had the one that got called back on Shaw because Shaw did push the guy into the ground.
Yeah. But, they just didn't do anything. Manchester United are weak. They lack leadership, and it's obvious. And they may have been distracted by the physique of Harry Maguire that was on display through that gigantic hole in his shirt. I'm not sure. Did you see how it happened?
No, I didn't see how it happened.
It wasn't on the highlights either. I feel like if something like that goes down, they need to be able to figure out why. Because basically from his armpit almost to the seam on the bottom of the shirt was ripped.
Yeah, I guess he
on
just
his right
wanted
side.
He just wanted a little air conditioning. Wanted to do, like the
maybe
the
Ashley
t-shirts,
Barnes tried to get after him.
like the T-shirts that all the kind of like headbanging kind of guys would wear from the 80s.
Oh yeah, with
the
the real cut off. Yeah.
Yep.
But it was cut all the way down the side.
Yep.
Yeah. I do remember that.
Definitely.
I do remember that. Mela got a reference.
Hey, how about that?
If I was playing bingo, that would have been a square.
So, you have Manchester United in 5th place currently, but on 34 points.
Yeah, pitiful. They're still not. Traditionally, the 40-point mark is the safe from relegation spot.
There was a stat
So
that showed
technically they're still not safe.
that under Mourinho at this time, in his first full season, he was at 54 points and in 2nd place. And the second time, he was at 44 points and in 3rd place. Or, I'm sorry, 4th place. And now it is 30, like,
They're
34 fucking
they're
points.
they're 10 points worse off than they were last season at this stage. And the players aren't good enough, number one.
Yeah.
That's a big problem. But they also they have no panache anymore. There's no creativity, there's no drive, there's no determination most of the time, and a lot of that piece of it comes down to the manager.
They're exceptionally okay.
Yeah. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is not good enough.
And
he's getting found out and getting found out quickly. It's no longer people are no longer scared to play Manchester United or even scared to go to Old Trafford, to be honest.
But don't worry, you know what? They got their comeback win. They went down to went off to Tranmere and got a good 6 goals today. So,
yeah, and celebrating we talked about the U.S. women at the World Cup that we were both pissed off about.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, it was a bit of a banger, but it's fucking Tranmere, man.
Yeah, you can't be that excited.
What do you like? Yeah, I know you're a center back. You don't score many goals. That's all well and good, but you don't celebrate like that. What are you doing? What are you doing?
You just lost to a team for the first time in your stadium in damn near close to 60 years.
Yeah.
Don't go getting all excited when you're winning an FA Cup game against opposition that's 2 levels down from you. Like
exactly. There's only 2 teams that Sean Dyche hasn't beaten in the Premier League.
You guys and it was United, right?
No, after this, there's still 2.
Okay, you guys are.
I don't
one.
remember the
I
other
think,
one. My point is we're one of them.
Yeah, I know you're one of them.
Yeah. Just thought I'd point that out.
So, one final question then for this, and then we'll move on. United, their front office, is this finally letting them know that they're not football evaluators and that they need to get football evaluators into the club?
Yeah, they need some football men to right the ship here.
Can't be Woodward anymore. I can't.
No, well, he's terrible. He's brilliant in his business sense. He's fantastic. Despite them falling out of the Champions League and a few of those the other things that are surrounding the club at the moment, off-field issues with Pogba and some of that stuff. they are stronger commercially than they were previously. So he's great at that, and that's wonderful, and you need that in this day and age, right?
Right.
But eventually, is that a sustainable business model if you're not in the conscience of, you're not coming up against Barcelona every season now. You're not coming up against Real Madrid. You don't have those marquee ties. You're going to fucking Rubin Kazan in the Europa League. You know what I mean? It's not the same. It's not the same level. And will it continue to be commercially viable if the results don't match? And I would tend to say no. So they need to get a football guy in to try to make some decisions, to try to bring some cohesion, and they need a top manager. They need a proven manager and give that guy some time.
They also need some clubhouse people too. They need some players that'll help build up
the people that buy into the shirt, that know what Manchester United is and what Manchester United's all about.
Yeah. They need that desperately.
And play for the badge and play for the shirt and the history and everything that goes along with it. They have a lot of individuals. They have some people that buy into the idea, but it's just all over the pitch. You can see glaring holes.
Obviously with any club, okay is not good enough. But this is Manchester fucking United.
Yeah.
Okay is never.
Well,
yes.
Correct. It's never good enough, but we glossed over, didn't even talk about Jay Rodriguez.
Oh, the goal?
It was a
gorgeous
fantastic goal.
It was a really good goal.
Fantastic goal.
It was a really good goal.
And big Chris Wood on the swivel as well, half volley with his weaker foot.
Yeah.
Both of them. They were brilliant. They were, dare I say, Manchester United-esque goals.
That's the kind of win you want to get if you're Burnley. You're starting to get dragged into the relegation battle. Get a win like this, get you right the fuck back out of it.
Right, for now.
Both of our sides drew this midweek, Sammy. Both had the same score line, but that is the only place where the similarities lie.
Correct.
Arsenal 2, Chelsea 2, Everton 2, Newcastle 2. Mustafi in 3, 2, 1, go.
What the fuck? I have never seen anybody completely hang out a teammate to dry that poorly since John Terry fucked Wayne Bridges' wife back in the day. You've got to be kidding me. A terrible back pass. Didn't even look. Was way too short for the goalkeeper. David Luiz wasn't there because he wasn't supposed to be there. Has no business playing that ball. And he really put David Luiz under the cosh and the entire defense. Bird Leno was out quickly and did force. I can't remember who had. Was it Tammy? Probably had to be.
Yeah, it was Tammy.
Forced him wide, which allowed Luiz to recover. And then, but tackled him.
I've seen David Luiz do worse.
No, absolutely. Well, the other thing is Mustafi tried to recover, and I think that it looked like to me that was David Luiz's chief complaint about the red itself, was that I'm not the last defender.
Right.
He was, he was on the 6, like he was already recovered, he was back, but it was not necessarily the last defender. It was the denial of a clear goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
And yes, it's a red card. I had no complaints about the red other than Mustafi's performance for the red.
The wrong guy got sent off.
And to open Chelsea's scoring again, Jorginho from the spot, which I've become too familiar with now, having happened the first go-round again. Now, I think it was following a corner. Mustafi did get the clearance to Martinelli, so he was credited with an assist. Martinelli's first touch was terrible, and there was a bit of luck in it where Rudiger slipped. But he did run.
Rudiger was Conte who actually slipped.
Oh, it was Conte.
It was Conte.
But it was that's right, because Rudiger would have been up for the corner. Yeah. So it was a little bit of luck, but 70-yard sprint to compose himself as well as he did, and Kepa did nothing to help himself at all.
No.
And Martinelli just slotted home very well, 1-1. And then I think it was Mustafi again. We have this weird kind of half zonal, half man-to-man.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever was marking Azpilicueta, who's one of the shorter people on the pitch, from that corner.
Also,
Could
not
just
one to find the net very often either.
completely lost him, and he just tapped in at the near post, no problem. Bernd Leno couldn't get down quick enough to stop it, and I don't remember exactly who it was, and I didn't write it down, but it was probably Mustafi's fault also.
I just blame
Just
him.
feel comfortable saying that. Granit Xhaka actually played very well, sliding back into a center back position defensively. He did
Interesting
step
from
forward.
Arteta to not really go. Everybody's immediate reaction when you see a defender get a red card is to immediately put on another center back and pull one of your attacking options.
It helps
And
when we don't really
credit-
have anymore.
And well, credit to him for not doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
It helps when the only one we have is a 21-year-old Greek player who's played 4 times for the club, you know.
Right.
And we still need to try to push forward. We can't just throw the game away. It's only the 24th minute.
Precisely.
So you're right. Credit to him for doing it. Xhaka did very well, actually. Looked more comfortable in that position than he does in his own
Yeah.
most of the time. And he was kind of calm Mustafi down, it seemed, for real. And offensively, he would step forward into the midfield line and help out there in his normal position. So 2-1, Azpilicueta's goal. And you think, fuck, we held out after Martinelli's for a little while.
It was
where
gutsy. We did what we
It was
needed to do.
yeah,
and
but it's the 84th minute. You're like, shit,
there's the fucking heartbreaker.
that's it. Cue Hector Bellerin.
Yep.
Hasn't played for a very long time. Got the full 90 minutes. Captain aside, they gave him acres of space. He cut in from from the corner of the box as a right back on his weaker left foot and put it through a sea of bodies very accurately into that far corner. And Kepa
Great hit.
couldn't get to it.
Yeah,
it
great
was a
hit.
wonderful hit. And just with the fight and determination of the team, you could hear the Arsenal end through the television. Rocking again, right? We barely have that at the Emirates anymore. They were fully behind the team in full voice, full song. It was wonderful. And it felt like a win under the circumstances.
Feels like Arteta's fingerprints are starting to get all over
Yep.
this team now.
Absolutely.
And that's a really good thing. A lot of fight, not giving up. Seems like a little bit more clear direction when they're attacking.
Yep.
It seems more organized.
They have a fucking plan. Yeah, they're organized. They have a plan. Now, our defense is still shite, right? The people that are there suck.
Right.
So there's still going to be mistakes. There's still going to be problems. Bernd Leno's still going to be hung out to dry on occasion. So what happened just now, right, with Mustafi's errant back pass, to put it politely, and David Luiz having to try to do something to stop a certain Tammy Abraham goal, and him doing it. But besides that, they look like a team, right? Some of the performances you've put in, and not even just this one, but some of the performances you've put in haven't been particularly good, but you have a plan, you have effort, and you have players that are leaving it on the field.
Yeah.
And at the minimum, that's what should be required. And you're in most games, then you're not.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
that's what we're doing the same thing. We're in most
since
games
making
and
that
we're
change.
not. Yeah.
Since making that change, we've been in every game.
There's a
Every
little bit.
game
There's
we're in.
belief that's starting to creep back in. I mean, look at where Watford was versus where they are now.
Right.
Right now, they have double the wins than managers they've had this season. It's not because Nigel Pearson's some master tactician. It's just gave him a kick in the ass.
Yeah.
You know,
Got him
So,
focused.
a draw that feels like a win for us, given the circumstances. Down to 10 men for a majority of the game. And after what happened with Chelsea's comeback before,
Right.
last time out just a few weeks ago, it definitely felt like a win.
Good. For us, Moist Ken finally on the score sheet.
Now, I have a problem with this.
Okay.
Great feet, great swivel, good hit. Dubravka probably could have done better.
Yeah.
But Moise Ken's celebration, after not having a goal for so long, as a very highly rated young forward, you would have thought that he would have had something in mind. And his celebration was whack. It was like a fake, bad version of what Daniel Sturridge used to do with the arm dance he used to do with the shoulders and stuff.
So you
And
say
it
they're
was
supposed
pitiful.
to practice their celebrations?
You need something, man.
Personally,
You
I
need
would.
something.
I'll agree with you on that one. It did definitely look like the Humpty Dance.
Yeah.
It definitely looked
It
like
was
the
bad.
Humpty Dance.
It was bad. You got to be original.
I just think he was so fucking happy he didn't know what the hell to do. And then another big thing is worth mentioning is Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Since the departure of no, I'm sorry, I'll take that back because Rooney had 10. No, it wasn't in all. It was in all competitions. It wasn't 10 in the Prem. But since Lukaku, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is now a double-digit goal scorer for this team. And
Yep.
I'll be the first one to say I was highly critical of him. Didn't think he was the guy for the job. You know what? He's figuring out how to do it. And when you got a guy who gives you double-digit goals, your offense is starting to move in the right direction.
Absolutely. He was lucky in this day and age. I'm not saying that I would have necessarily agreed with it, but in this day and age with VAR and the manner in which they look at some of these replays, I think he's lucky not to have seen red for that elbow on Lascelles. Now, what was also very funny is when Lascelles squared up to him, he pushed his hand in front of his nose as if to say Lascelles had very bad breath.
Your breath stank.
That was fucking
I
hysterical.
tweeted that.
That was fucking hysterical.
I tweeted that. And
Loved
then,
it.
And then later on, Yuri Mina had a soccer ball baby.
Yeah.
He put it up in his shirt and started to walk away and then just dropped it.
Nice.
Like gave birth to the soccer ball baby. And
Y'all dominated everything from the start of this game.
should have been 5-0.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, should have been. There was, and now the credit there goes to Dubravka. So although he didn't do well with the first goal for Moise Kean,
As usual, he came up
just
trumps. Yeah.
It's there. You look back and you're like, oh yeah, there were 4 goal-saving saves. Like just miraculous dives, getting to the corner, doing everything right. Like it just. Dubravka, arguably one of the best shot stoppers, I think, in the Prem.
Absolutely. One of the best goalkeepers in the Prem, period. I mean, he catches a lot of it, too. Not just like Guaita for Crystal Palace, a fantastic shot stopper, but he can't catch the ball.
Right. Yeah, he puts a lot of stuff
Pepe
back into
Reina
play.
showed us in a 30-second span all of his various methods of stopping the ball, but not catching it.
Right. Ultimately,
I
please.
want to talk about Digne's pass to Calvert-Lewin for his goal.
Yeah.
It would have been a good pass had the entire Newcastle team not made a hallway for him and just showed him, hey, just pass it through here. He's open.
Yeah.
That 2 full lines of players just stepped to either their left or right and just made this massive hole directly to Calvert-Lewin. And
Right.
Digne was like, oh, even right-footed. Digne was like, boom, there you go.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Calvert-Lewin, good turn, got the ball out from under his feet really well, and then rifled it into the far side.
So you're going to probably have a different opinion than I of this, but for me,
Don't try to take the sting out of it.
there is no sting to be had. It's a throwaway game and a throwaway season. Yeah, it sucked. It sucked. You know what? You know what, though? It wasn't a fucking loss.
But it felt like one.
No, didn't feel like
It felt
one.
like one for me while I was watching it.
It did not feel like a loss.
2-0 into stoppage time. And a defender with an overhead kick looking like Zlatan. And then the same defender scoring again his first and second goals for the club. And Jordan Pickford forgot that he needs to stand in front of the line when he tries to catch
That's
a
very
ball
true.
instead of behind the line.
Well, there's
Maybe
this,
the drugs started to wear off from the rave.
Nah, I tend to think that Jordan has two castleitis. Whenever he faces Newcastle, he forgets how to play goalkeeper.
Well, that's true because he was a Sunderland boy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he always blows it. It sucked. Yeah, it was shocking more than anything else. You're just kind of like, huh?
Right.
Like we kicked the shit out of them, and it's a draw. Then you sit there and you kind of look at it and you go, it's fuck. That's not our team on the pitch. Like not all of. I mean, some of our team, but not all of our team. And we're missing Richie, and the subs that Ancelotti had to make, he had to sub out, the 3 guys up top because they'd been running their dicks off. Like Bernard Ken were just exhausted by the end.
But,
so you have to put them on. And then, so who do you have left? You have Omar Nias, because you're so limited on your people that he comes out onto the pitch, fresh set of legs, ball on his feet at midfield, decides to touch it too long and lose it, which is what led to the first corner kick, which led to the first goal.
Does he still wear the wristbands?
Yes.
So I hate that.
And you look at it and you go, okay, well, that guy's not going to be on the pitch ever again. Morgan Schneiderlin didn't have a terrible game. He actually had a fairly decent game. He's not going to be on the pitch for Everton anymore. Like, the minute these players start to get healthy, those guys aren't going to be, Delph will be exactly what he's supposed to be. A squad player that's good in the locker room. Not a guy who has to start every week in and in out. Like,
I hear you.
And then you got, a kid like Davies, it's trial by fire for him right now. He has to, whenever he plays, and he's hard on his sleeve because he's an Everton boy through and through. But because of that, there's going to be tons of fucking mistakes.
Yeah.
And he got the foul that led to the second goal. And I would like to think I'll take the wisdom of my manager from all of this, and I like what he had to say about it. Looked at the boys and told them, yeah, so once I was up 3-0 in a Champions League final.
That's true. That's true. And it was against the team across Stanley Park. I watched that game in Aruba.
Apparently that went over very well in the locker room. The whole locker room just went, oh, okay, I
Yeah,
feel a
fair
lot less.
enough.
feel a
Well,
lot less.
Steve Bruce looked embarrassed, to be honest.
All right, we're not talking about that anymore.
Well,
We're on to the next segment.
You almost ruined a joke. Did you see the guy in Brooklyn that successfully registered a beer as an emotional support animal?
No, I did not.
Well, it happened. And I feel like you might need one, so I'm going to open one for you, buddy.
I don't. I'm good. So, rounding out the rest of the league, and so that happened.
Mel.
Liverpool 2, Wolverhampton 1. Tottenham 2, Norwich 1. Leicester City 4, West Ham 1. Ouch. Southampton 2, Palace 0. Bournemouth 3, Brighton 1. Man City 1, Sheffield 0. Liverpool just keep winning, even when Wolves threw a pretty good fight at them.
They were well in this game. Pretty much all the stats were even except shots. Wolves only managed 3 shots on target to Liverpool's 6, but they held Liverpool to 6.
Yeah.
It was a damn good game. Possession was almost even. I think Liverpool only had 2% more.
Early goal hurt them because then you're playing catch up the rest of the match for Wolves.
Absolutely. Well, it was a Trent Alexander-Arnold corner again, and this time Jordan Henderson on the end of it. And then Sadio Mane went down injured on 33 minutes. I haven't really heard anything other than that, so I don't know how long he's going to be out, if at all. And they actually drew level, Wolves did, through a Jimenez header. Very well done. Completely meant to do it. Just a little kind of daft flicked header to the far side. But you also had, again, Traore providing that assist.
Man's had an amazing season.
Is there anything he can't do? Well, he can't shoot from 25 yards after a full sprint. We saw that. That was terrible, that effort.
Yeah.
When he was seemingly clean in. We also know that Allison's face, in and of itself, is just better than Jordan Pickford's all-around goalkeeping.
Oh, thanks.
As he took one clean off the noggin from Raul Jimenez's close-range effort. And then Firmino. Terrible touch when he cut inside following that pass, but he got it out from under his feet well and just got to it, little snapshot to the far side, and Liverpool figured out yet another way to win.
Yeah. I think you now start to look at the remaining schedule, and it's just like, all right, who might be able to beat them?
I don't want to because I don't know that there is anyone that can.
I mean, you
My
put
Invincibles might be gone.
you think perhaps City, but it's going to be at Anfield,
Right.
so the ball's in their
Where they
court.
haven't lost in like 100 fucking games or
Right.
something ridiculous.
And then you say, okay, maybe at Goodison, simply because it is the rival, and let's face it, if Everton is healthy enough by then, that's going to be their season.
Well,
That'll be the game. So that'll be the one that they leave everything on the field for.
You also throw form out the window for a derby.
Yeah, always
So-
do. And then, while I don't feel any confidence in West Ham next week because they're currently struggling, West Ham does face Liverpool basically twice over the course of 3 weeks.
Right.
It normally, no matter how good a team is, that playing them again, it doesn't typically work out well simply because the team already knows what you're coming at them with.
Right.
You know, I mean, we saw that earlier in the year with Southampton and City. And City, when they played them in the league, really struggled.
Yep.
You know, really, really struggled against a team at the time that was faltering big time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Good from Wolves. Now we just need to see this intensity from Wolves on a regular basis.
Right. Well, they always pick themselves up for the big six.
Right. So
We've seen this. They lose to teams that they're not supposed to lose to. They lose to Norwich. They lose to, or drop points at least, minimum.
yeah,
Those are the teams they need to worry about. I think they lost to Brighton earlier in the season.
yeah.
That's the problem. Is those guys can raise their game and leave everything on the field for the big clubs. It's the teams, around them right there, that kind of mid-table, and then the teams below them that they struggle to get themselves up for.
United and Ole need to be very nervous because Wolves come to town. They're this next weekend.
As you'll see,
That is
in
the
my
wrong team at the wrong time.
As you'll see in my bet of the week.
My bet too.
Mm.
Yeah, no shit. How about
Interesting.
that?
Yep.
So,
Both like Les Mis. We bet on the same football teams. Look at that.
Spurs get the win, but it didn't feel very good, did it? It didn't feel very convincing or confident.
You say that like it ever feels good for me when Spurs wins. I hate it. That's one of the worst things that happen on a regular basis in my life. But no, it was good, however, because you never want to see that type of injury, that type of shit happen.
Right.
It was good to see Hugo Lloris back, and being able to last the full 90 minutes and everything
Yeah.
else. That was a seemingly innocuous thing that happened. The kind of tip over the bar, and then he fell to the ground and just put his arms to break his fall and like dislocated his fucking elbow.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a freak accident, but it was very good to see him back out there. Norwich, to their credit, were well in this game, but there wasn't a ton of quality on display, to be honest, besides the goals themselves.
yeah.
Only 5 shots on target between the two clubs. Serge Aurier with a very good cross, and Dele Alli timing his run perfectly to steal in and tap in. And then Sessegnon, who I actually forgot was at Tottenham, to be fair. He gave away a penalty because he didn't track a very simple run from the outside right. And Teemu Pukki scoring, sneaking it under the outstretched, previously injured elbow of Hugo Lloris, who should have done better. But it was a very accurate shot right to the corner. He was pretty lucky, though. Didn't strike it particularly well. And then everyone's favorite nice guy. The
National treasure.
Son
The sweetest man on earth.
Son Heung-min won the game for Spurs after a terribly deflected cross that looped right into his path, because there is no one more deserving of a sitter than Son Heung-min.
You know, Sam, I couldn't agree more. What a wonderful, charming spirit. You know, someone that children should aspire to be is a man like
needling
him.
at this point, Graham.
Of course. So, what's scaring me, though, is normally if someone's like freaking out and really over the top about it, kind of like I am, you don't really have a ton to be concerned about.
Right. No,
It's
calmness.
the calm
It's
quietness.
scary.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the serial killer aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Straight psychopath.
I got a little story for you at the end of this segment that I'll give you, so it's okay. Let's keep going.
That makes it even worse.
I know. Please tell me it got a hooker in somewhere. I don't know.
So, Leicester putting the boots to the hammers. Do we need to start being worried about West Ham?
Yeah, absolutely. The last time David Moyes, he kept him up, but his job previous to that, he took Sunderland down. Or maybe his job right after that. Took Sunderland down. I would definitely be concerned if they can't get some key pieces back. I think Yarmolenko's been out for a while, and he's one of their better players, to be fair. Manuel Lanzini's not playing particularly well, but he was back in the side finally after a very long injury layoff. But yeah, I'd be very worried for them. Leicester really, I mean, it was coming at some point because Leicester hasn't been on a great run of form, and they are a good team.
Right.
Jamie Vardy went down with a hamstring. Looked pretty bad, to be honest with you. And Jamie Vardy, Mel, went off holding his hamstring, jogged off holding his hamstring, came back on for a further 12 minutes, tried to run. Pulling a hamstring is one of the most painful things.
Oh, yeah.
And you also can't fucking do anything. Not Jamie Vardy.
No.
Jamie Vardy came out and ran for 12 more minutes before he sat
Did he
down and
duct
has to
tape
come
it?
off.
I'm
No,
Jamie
he
Evan
didn't do
Vardy,
anything.
that's why.
He walked off. He didn't even sit down off the pitch. He just walked off because the trainers came on, and he was like,
Right.
"Ah, fuck." And the ref waved him back on, so he came back on and ran.
Ugh.
And then finally, a few minutes later, he sat down. I was like, "All right, I can't do it." But it was nuts.
I'd like
the
to,
announcer at the time was like, "It looks as bad as Kane's." Like he just completely shredded his hamstring there. Harry Kane off on a stretcher, but yeah.
Right.
Jamie Vardy,
Not
nah, I'm going to
Jamie
run for
effing
12 more
Vardy.
minutes.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna say
I'm gonna run for 12
to
minutes.
quote the late great Rick James. Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Allegedly, do not sue us.
Right? Yeah, please. You can't sue for nothing. That's all we have.
Although
Leicester
the chicken
needed,
and Vardy, we're keeping that story going.
Oh, absolutely.
Cocaine and Vardy, allegedly.
Leicester needed that nice big confidence boost. win.
Absolutely. I can't believe the challenge from Ogbonna. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Tried the exact same defender's move that Ben Mee tried last week.
Yeah.
It was just a coming together. It was we just got tangled up. Nah.
No. You tackled him.
You tackled him. You went straight into him. Not a problem. But Harvey Barnes had himself a hell of a game.
Oh yeah.
Finishing off the 1-2 that he started with Ricardo Pereira.
Right.
And then finding Pereira later on for an absolute Hulk smash of a shot from just outside the area.
Yep.
That was fantastic. Ayoze Perez after that then stole the show basically. A little bit of a soft penalty just before that though, called on Wilfred Ndidi. And I don't think it's any surprise that Ndidi gets restored to the side following a long injury layoff. 3-4 weeks. And Leicester's problems seemed to be fixed. They looked more balanced. They looked more organized. They looked more confident. Wilfred Ndidi does exactly what N'Golo Kante did the year they won the title.
I was going to say, do we think he's more important to this team now in its current construct than Conte was during the championship run?
No, because they're not winning a title.
Fair enough.
And they're not close to it.
Yeah.
But in general, just in general terms, he is the most important cog in that team, yes.
Oh, hands down.
I would agree with that. Without Vardy, Iniacho's popped up with a couple goals. Ayoze Perez a couple goals.
Madison, score.
Harvey Barnes now.
Yeah.
Tillemans is known to pop up with a few.
Yeah.
So there's goals in that team, right? They could deal without Vardy.
Chowdhury's not Ndidi.
No, not even close.
Yeah, and that's
Even
really
though it
the
looks like
that's
he's
really
wearing
the
a
difference.
folded up Ndidi on his head.
Yeah. So,
He's got a massive afro, Mel.
I just love it when you guys laugh at your own jokes.
So Palace is now. I'm sorry, not Palace. Southampton is now in 9th place. Southampton's now in the top 10.
Yep.
A complete mess of a side, and they're now in the top fucking 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Palace in this game didn't manage a shot on target, and if you don't shoot on target, you
You're
won't
not
score,
gonna
a
score
goal.
a goal. Yeah.
Yep, and that proved to be the case as Palace ended up shooting a blank at home. But Hasenhüttl has really revitalized this team completely.
Yeah.
It also helps when people like Cenk Tosun are in 25 yards worth of space and blast it into Rosette.
Yeah.
I'm now beginning to just think that he's a bad player, that he's just not good.
Yeah. I mean,
He didn't even test the goalkeeper. He was wide open by himself. He shot too early and wildly.
I don't want to go making excuses for him, but he feels like a player that's not good enough for the Prem. He probably
Absolutely.
did great in Turkey, and he probably will go back to Turkey and do amazing again. Just either you got what it takes to be in the Prem or you don't, and I don't think he does, even though I still want to sell him to Palace for $100 million. Are we lost at home, starting to lose games that they should be winning a couple in a row now? Are we starting to see the slip of Palace? Do we think Palace is going to do a nosedive here?
It's entirely possible, but you'd have to imagine that between Jordan Ayew and Wilfred Zaha, they will figure out a way to score enough goals to stay up.
Got it.
I don't think they're going.
I agree.
I think
agree.
there's enough teams that are worse than they are. They might pull a Brighton from last season, where the other three teams that went down were just worse than Brighton.
Right.
Brighton didn't do anything to help themselves. And I think we could be watching that, absolutely. But a team, for everything that Cenk Tosun's shot wasn't, Nathan Redmond's and Stuart Armstrong's both were.
Yeah.
All of those things. Two wonderful hits from outside the area. Both dispatched expertly, and both found the back of the net.
Yep. So let's get through these last two pretty quickly because we're pretty long as it is already, and this is so that happened anyways. Cherries get a desperately needed win, and I think it's honestly, I don't think it's because the Cherries did anything necessarily well. I think it's because they caught the right team at the right time because Brighton want to win in January.
They only had 3 shots on target and only had 34% of the ball, Bournemouth, but they scored with all 3 shots. It was another team that hit 100% of their efforts.
Yeah.
Brighton were woeful, to be honest with you. Just they weren't taking chances. They gave away possession cheaply at times. Excuse me, and they were just caught by the surprise of Bournemouth. Bournemouth finally rediscovered their identity. And both Wilson boys, no relation though, Callum and Harry, finally ended their respective goal droughts.
Yep.
So they needed it. Pascal Gross was unfortunate to turn the ball into his own net. He had to do something with it because Wilson was there, Callum Wilson, and would have turned it home. He was right on the doorstep. So if they can start scoring goals again, I think they'll be fine. Nathan Ake's back fit. I think they'll be okay again.
I think this next weekend they play Villa at home, and I think Villa's going to give them the boots.
We'll see.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible.
So for the obviously there was the penalty the penalty and everything for the Sheffield City game, but ultimately Sheffield played them tough. You know,
they limited City to just 5 shots on goal.
Yeah, which they played good hustle ball. Really, the big part of the big story, Laporte back for City.
Yep,
that's fucking everything. Unfortunately, it's 2 months too late because
Liverpool's just too far ahead now.
Right, but that defense will now, all the problems we've been talking about their defense will now be instantaneously solved with Laporte being back in that line.
Absolutely. The other thing is, I didn't notice, and I didn't know if you saw, that Everton former youth player, Mo Besic.
Not a youth player. We brought him over from a team, but
you
yes.
Did? Oh, I just brought him over. He was still young. Just wasn't in your youth team, huh?
Yeah.
I gotcha. But Mo Besic back at Sheffield United.
Yep.
I didn't know he was there.
Yep. Yeah, we sent him over on loan. He also scored a goal in the cup game this weekend.
There you go. Still doing the same dumb shit he was doing when he played for you.
Oh, yeah,
You
tackling
see that
the
tackle
fuck out of people.
for no fucking reason.
Against Laporte, too.
Yeah, it was a back pass on the edge of his box on the City's left, Sheffield's right-hand side.
So
And slid for like 7 yards.
so here's the more important thing. Let's get to the story I have for you, Sam.
Okay.
So, you're feeling pretty chesty. You're feeling, strong and Mr. Man, and you're going to talk about it here in prediction time and everything. So I want to let you know, in my life as a younger man, I once thought I was pretty chesty, and decided to call the old man out. My old man, as I've told you before, but I haven't told the people on the show, my father was 6'8", 489 pounds, literally the height and width of a doorway. The man would turn sideways and bend down to walk into a room. And when I was 16 years old, I was feeling pretty good about myself, thought I was a big swinging dick, and I decided to call the old man out. And I went ahead and I took my go at him, and he immediately put me into a headlock and then proceeded to whack me right between my eyes, just above my nose and my forehand, with the palm of his hand. He did not hit me, the palm of his hand. And I remember seeing a great flash of light. And I remember waking up to my mom throwing a cold washcloth on my face and going, "Do you feel fucking better about yourself?" I say that because, Sam, at some point you're going to come at me. And I always look out for you, and I always take care of you, and I always try to give you good advice. And much like my father, at some point you're gonna call the old man out. And I want to let you know it's gonna hurt me a lot more
I've heard that
than it's gonna hurt you when I cut you to the quick. And you too are gonna wake up from the floor.
So many metaphors.
Right.
You too are gonna wake up from on the floor with producer Mel throwing a cold washcloth in your face,
It'll be a cold beer.
saying,
Yeah, that'll be better.
"Do you feel better about your fucking self?" It's time to tell you what little we know. It is prediction time.
Except I know a lot.
For once. Pat is on a streak. He didn't pick Arsenal. He picked the half a point. So the draw made him a winner.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
Kitty's back to 500. I missed on the under, and well, we all knew it would eventually happen that Sam Graham would finally hit one of his cockamamie bets. You feeling good about yourself, Sam?
I am.
And you're still over a G in the hole at 1187.
Not this week.
So what shit craziness do you envision for you to hit this week, Killer?
Now it's a bet from Chesty Graham.
It is.
There's your sound bite.
It is. So, 2 away wins is what I went for. No, one was home, one it. Doesn't matter. This week, I'm going for 2 away wins and another parlay. And I'm also going to add in a third rung of the ladder there, Mel.
Wait him.
Okay?
All right. Throw it at me.
Wolves to win at Manchester United
All right.
with there being under 3.5 total goals in the game.
Okay.
Okay. What is
Okay.
that paying you?
It's a parlay, and I'm
Okay.
not done.
Of course, it's a parlay.
It's a parlay, and I'm not done. So
'Cause
that's one.
I did almost the exact same bet.
So that's part of
Almost.
it. Wolves to win at Man U at under 3.5 goals total in the game.
All right.
Also, in addition to that, Arsenal to win at Burnley. Now that, Mel, gave me a whopping plus 771.
Well, yeah, because Burnley likes to Burnley.
A whopping 771.
Okay.
Okay? I'm putting 200 on it, and I'm going to be in the positive at the end of this weekend by over $400.
Or
Because it's going to net me a grand total of $1,542, my friend.
and
Okay.
if
If
you
that-
lose, you're back to what?
1387. Which is fine because that was less than I was down with the prior.
So that's interesting because my bet kind of falls in the same realm only because I'm doing United and Wolves, but I'm also taking a different score line than you. So, anywho,
Okay.
all right. So let's go ahead and get to our boy.
And now, it's time for our degenerate gambling friend Pat's Pick of the Week.
St. Even Steven is my name. I'm on a roll, and sometimes being even feels like money won. Let's keep my 3-week winning streak alive with another safe, smart bet. Sunday's primetime game is Tottenham hosting Manchester City. So I'm not really keen on picking a side in this game. Last time they played to a 2-2 draw in August. So I'm just going to put 105 on the over of 3.5 goals at minus 105. Hope to be back in the black next week and maybe have a risky bet to make with some real money. But I like making those kind of bets with money in the bank, not with my daughter's college fund. Have a great week.
I'm about to be the only one in the positive, so
You're the problem is you're overlooking the 1-0 loss you're going to have at Turf Moor.
but I'm not though. We're their bogey team. I've already proved it. I told you that earlier. Burnley, Sean Dyche has never beat us. It's not going to happen.
All we need is a draw.
It's going to be fine.
Ugly 1-1.
We will take care of it.
An
Pierre-Emerick
ugly-
Aubameyang is going to be back as well, I believe.
All right. So, you're getting a little too close for my liking. So I'm now at minus 667. So for this week's,
Big Sam's Lock of the Week.
that's right, motherfucking. I can't talk.
100% of the time, it works 100% of the time.
That's right.
Thank you for the save, producer Mel.
That's
I
right,
appreciate it.
motherfucking. That's what he started. That's right, motherfucking.
I'm taking a parlay myself. I'm going to go with Wolves for the win, and I'm taking the under of 2.5, which is the normal line. So
Right.
you tweak the line up to
Yeah,
3.5.
just to be safe.
And that payout to me is a plus 575. So for me, do I want to lose knowing that you lose, or do I want to win and hope that Arsenal fuck it up for you?
You'll want to win and hope that Arsenal fuck it up for me.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So wait, if you win, that'll put you at what?
That'll get me to about like minus 120.
And so even if you both win, you're still ahead.
No, he'll be ahead.
I'll be way
All right.
ahead. I'll be ahead by over 500.
Now, if you both lose, though, who's the biggest loser?
Me.
Oh, it's still him.
All right, I just want
He's-
to make sure we knew.
he's
Me,
still-
because I also bet 200 on mine.
All right.
So I would go back to 1387 or whatever it is. I think
And
it's
he'd still be
1387.
so
about-
you're either going
about
to be the
600
big winner or
behind
the
me.
big loser.
Right, and you're only
All
betting 100, right?
Yeah, I'm only betting 100.
So you would come down to 767, and I'd be at 13 something.
I just
so.
need to keep track of all the shenanigans.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a pretty great segment, but we give you more. We give you Kitty the chicken.
You know, as the season goes on, they dance. Oh, never mind. There goes Sam breaking into his getting it. Oh yeah, big man dancing in the corner. So Kitty was in good spirits today. I went up to visit her because it was surprisingly warm for January.
Yep.
So they got a chance to scoot around the yard and pick at worms and all the good stuff. So this week I gave Kitty Newcastle hosting Notch City. Norwich City. Notch.
I got
Remember,
it.
the Canaries.
It doesn't matter. They're getting relegated anyway.
I may or may not have picked,
Regulated?
That's what
I
said.
may or may not have picked this game purposely just to make her say Norwich.
Say Notch.
Notch is getting regulated.
Yep, Notch is getting regulated. So Kitty, she handed me an old backstage pass and a picture of her sharing a bottle of whiskey with... Nope, not the lead singer of Cornell's. It was Brian Johnson of AC/DC as Back in Black rang from the coop. Now, Brian is a proud member of Toon Army, and clearly Kitty agrees that Notch is getting regulated, and Toon Army's going to win this weekend.
Who are the Cornells?
Didn't I say it wrong?
The Connells, thank you very
Whatever.
much.
Cornell's, Connell's.
Go ahead and take
Outselling
Norwich,
Hasselhoff is a
Notch.
big deal.
go ahead and take us out, honey.
They were, 1 year. They were bigger than Hasselhoff. And so, party people, as always, remember to gamble legally and responsibly.
Party people. Neither one of us went.
No, but we won.
Yeah, we won 5-4. We were told by old Jakey Poo, our goalkeeper. Called us and told us that we won. So well done.
Finished 4-4-1,
Mhm.
I think. Yeah.
Yep.
So not bad, not great.
New schedule's not up yet either. Big surprise.
Yep. Would love for us to get into the playoffs. Like to see us make the playoffs. but
Yeah.
This team's good enough to do it. We just seem to slip at the wrong times.
Correct. And I may or may not be there on Tuesday.
Ah.
It's my actual anniversary.
Yeah, very true.
So we're taking Tegan to dinner at the Owl Bar, where we get 15% off for life because we were married at the Belvedere.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So every year on our anniversary, we go there.
Very nice.
Yep.
All right, Sammy. So
There you
that
go.
about wraps it up. Any parting words?
I do. Some very unfortunate news in the world of sport. Longtime Barcelona fan and very close friend of Ronaldinho, Ronaldinho introduced him to Lionel Messi when Messi was 17 and told him that he was going to be the greatest of all time.
No shit.
Yep. But sadly, Kobe Bryant, his daughter, and 7 other people were killed in a helicopter crash today.
Yeah.
But a little peek behind the curtain. We're recording on Sunday this week. So it happened this morning. Very sad, obviously. But he was very involved with Barcelona, actually going over on multiple occasions, going to games, doing promotional videos with Ronaldinho and various things of that nature. Just good friends, those two. But in Calabasas, California, his helicopter went down. That helicopter also contained, as I said, his 13-year-old daughter, Gianna, who was an aspiring basketball player. A lot of pictures floating around of him and her at games, at Laker games, where he was breaking down everything that was happening for her, trying to really teach her and about the sport. There was also another child from her team, and that kid's parent was there as well. The pilot and also a college coach among the others that have perished. So 8 total passengers and the pilot. Nine people passed away. Very sad, obviously, for the world of sport just in general. Besides one small shaky period in his life, he was an inspiration to many. A great sportsman, a wonderful father. From
What human doesn't have mistakes in their life?
Absolutely. No, I'm not casting judgment on the man. He was a wonderful person, and the Mamba mentality inspires so many, that the ultra competitiveness. Heard somebody today on the radio say that for him, even if his own mother was standing in front of the basket, he'd knee her in the face to get there. He so badly wanted to score. One of his final tweets was congratulating LeBron James for passing him on the all-time scorers list just Saturday evening.
Yep.
So terribly sad. The world's going to miss him. But he, again, was an inspiration to many, and just allow the Mamba mentality to continue to motivate us all and continue to light the fire of our competitiveness. And, it's terrible.
Yep.
And obviously in the football world specifically, we had last year, Vishai Shinadabaprava, Leicester's owner, that died in a helicopter crash just outside the stadium. So
and Cardiff City signing Emilio Zaha in a plane crash.
In a plane crash, yeah. It's just a lot of aviation accidents, obviously, recently, and kind of connected to the world of football. And it's sad. It's really sad. And the world's going to miss him. And 41 years old.
Yeah. Too young. My old man was 40.
Yep.
Too fucking young.
Absolutely. Well, most of them are too young, to be honest.
True.
Most of them are too young.
So that's going to wrap it up, boys and girls. Real quick,
Sorry to kill the mood, guys.
Oh, it's okay. I'm about to lighten it up again. I forgot to feed the cup of losers, the Dort Spirek cup of losers. So mine says, even a blind squirrel finds a nut, to be referenced to you, lucky motherfucker.
Didn't I fuck that saying up once with you, off air?
Yes, you did.
I say something like,
How did he say it?
I said like, even a blind dog
He was like,
takes a shit or something.
Nut squirrel.
It was something dumb. I was like, yeah, even a blind dog barks at a raccoon from time to time. Like, it made no fucking sense. Whatever it was I said. It was
Alrighty.
stupid.
So next up is injury time. It's just a preview of the weekend, and it's a little more show just like this, except for we get a little mouthier.
Yeah.
Sam, if people want to check out our Patreon, how do they do that?
So again, it is www.patreon.com/DUfootballshow, and Patreon is Patreon.
Alrighty, everybody. And outside of that, we'll talk to you next week.
That's it. Buenas noches. I have never seen anybody completely hang out a teammate to dry since John Terry fucked Wayne Bridges' wife back in the day.